As the morning stretched on, the store remained bathed in its strange, serene glow. Lu Xiaoyu busied herself tidying up the shelves, occasionally stopping to admire her own reflection in the glossy jars of pills. Lin Mo, meanwhile, sipped from a cup of tea, keeping an eye on the system panel and the faint trickle of customers outside. Soon, the doorbell chimed softly, its sound almost melodious against the quiet backdrop. Another customer stepped in. This one was a woman clad in a traveling cloak embroidered with delicate patterns of vines and leaves. Her face was partially obscured by a hood, but the faint sparkle of jade earrings hinted at wealth, or at least an affiliation with someone important. Finally, Lin Mo thought, it's not someone that needs charity anymore. Her movements were graceful and confident. Her eyes scanned the store's shelves, lingering on the talismans and elixirs with a mixture of curiosity and guarded skepticism. Lin Mo straightened from his position behind the counter. "Welcome to the Divine Convenience Store," he greeted, adopting the same neutral tone as before with a hint of a businesslike smile. "Let us know if you need anything." The woman didn't respond immediately. Instead, she wandered deeper into the store, her gaze flickering over the strange assortment of items. When her eyes landed on a rack of what looked like raincoats and umbrellas with different designs and a variety of colors, she finally spoke. "What is this? Are these authentic?" she asked, holding up a pink umbrella. Su Chi was intrigued at first, but the system panel labeled it Protection Against Celestial Tribulations, Limited Modern Edition. "Absolutely. Guaranteed to shield you during minor celestial tribulations, or your spirit stones back." Lin Mo replied with a practiced smile, but his lips were about to twitch at the chosen design for a tribulation protection. "Taihao must have wanted one of those, huh?" The woman arched an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed with his sales pitch. "What a bold claim. Do you say this thing can guard against celestial tribulations? Isn't this an umbrella?" Lu Xiaoyu appeared at Lin Mo's side in an instant, her heaven's reflex making her movement almost imperceptible. "It's not just a claim, ma'am," she chirped enthusiastically. "Everything here is supplied by a divine being, and we're running a special today. Buy 2 celestial tribulation umbrellas, and get, our best wishes for free." Lin Mo shot her a sidelong glance, but didn't bother correcting her. The woman smirked faintly, setting the umbrella back on its rack. "Interesting, but I'm not here to get something to help me with my tribulation. Do you have anything for?" She hesitated slightly, her expression briefly flickering with unease. "Concealing one's aura?" Lin Mo raised an eyebrow as he quickly checked the system panel. Sure enough, an item popped up, and it was the raincoat-like item next to the rack of umbrellas. Aura Concealment Cloak, basic grade. Temporarily hides the user's spiritual signature from detection. Price, 8 spirit stones. "Yes, we do," Lin Mo said, gesturing toward it. "Our aura concealment cloaks are effective for temporary use. 8 spirit stones each. We also have higher grades variety if you need something with better quality, but the price will rise steeply." The woman's gaze followed his gesture, her eyes narrowing slightly. She moved toward the rack, examining the raincoats or cloaks like what the system wanted to call it with careful precision. "No, this will do," she said after a moment, pulling one off the rack and approaching the counter. Lin Mo rang up the item, watching as she pulled out a neat pouch and placed 8 gleaming spirit stones on the counter without hesitation. As he handed her the cloak, the system chimed. "Customer satisfaction enhanced, plus 1 spirit stone credited to personal balance." "Thank you for your patronage," Lin Mo smilingly said, picking up the spirit stones and putting them into the register. The woman nodded curtly, draping the raincoat over her. But as she turned to leave, she paused, glancing over her shoulder. "Your establishment is unique. I will be back in the future," she said slowly. "However, I believe word of this place will spread quickly. Be prepared for the attention it will bring, both good and bad." With that cryptic warning, she exited the store, the bell chiming softly behind her. Lin Mo couldn't help but shake his head. His customers kept warning him for that, but weren't they the ones responsible for spreading the store's existence? "Well," Lu Xiaoyu said, plopping onto a stool, "who do you think she was, boss? At least she's nicer than the woman from the Verdant Sky Pavilion. Probably someone trying to avoid being tracked." Lin Mo replied as he leaned back in his chair. "Not our business, though. She paid, and that's what matters." Lu Xiaoyu twirled a pin she had picked up from the counter display. Still, they're not wrong. We got 3 customers quickly. This is in a remote corner of this city, boss. What's your plan if we start getting less polite customers? Same plan as always, Lin Mo said with a shrug. Sell them something, keep them happy, and pray that they hear about Tai Hao turning those 3 thugs to ashes yesterday. Good plan, Lu Xiaoyu said with a grin. Can I be in charge of the keeping them happy part? I'm great at charming people, you know. Lin Mo snorted. Sure, as long as you're also in charge of the cleaning up after them part. Their banter was interrupted by the system panel flickering to life with a new notification. Still Tiff, some rich organization poured their spirit stones into the store and took monopoly of the divine grade items. You're kidding, Yu Qingyan muttered in disbelief. Is it too obvious? Yu Qingyan clicked her tongue but didn't press on the issue anymore. Right on cue, Lu Xiaoyu, who had been eavesdropping with the subtlety of a child peeking around a corner, nearly dropped the bag of chips she was restocking as she ran back to the counter. 12 bottles? Boss, we're rolling in spirit stones. Ignoring her, Lin Mo maintained his calm demeanor, though internally he was already calculating his personal balance increase. 12 bottles will be 24 spirit stones, miss you. Would you like them packed together? Yu Qingyan's response was a simple nod as she retrieved a pouch of spirit stones and placed them on the counter. Please. And do include that fascinating refrigerator in our next partnership discussion. Lin Mo chuckled lightly as he motioned for Lu Xiaoyu to fetch a crate for the sodas. You seem very invested in our humble store, miss you. Unfortunately, it's not my call to make. Curiosity. She replied with a nonchalant tone, but her eyes were clearly showing more than she wanted to say. It's not every day one encounters an establishment like this. Neutral ground, unique wares, and an enigmatic shopkeeper. One can't help but wonder what else lies beneath the surface. Lu Xiaoyu, carrying the crate with surprising ease, placed it on the counter and grinned at Yu Qingyan. Boss might be enigmatic, but he's just as clueless as I am half the time. Lin Mo shot her a warning glance. Thank you for that glowing review, Xiaoyu. Now hurry up and do your job, my dear assistant. Yu Qingyan chuckled, her amusement genuine this time. Well, shopkeeper Lin, consider me intrigued. I'll return when I have more time to explore your offerings. It's fine to recommend this establishment, is it not? It is. But miss you, considering your position and affiliation, shouldn't it be wise for you to prevent the spread of our shop's existence? You know your thing, shopkeeper. However, I doubt it will be wise for me to do that. Won't that make you frown at me? I want to gain your favor, so I'll do you one first. With her purchase in hand, Yu Qingyan gave a final, knowing glance before leaving the store. The bell's soft chimes signaled her departure, leaving a faint air of mystery in her wake. Customer satisfaction enhanced, plus 1 spirit stone credited to personal balance. Lu Xiaoyu turned to Lin Mo, her expression a mix of awe and curiosity. Boss, do you think she's plotting something? She seems way too interested in this place. Lin Mo shrugged, pocketing the spirit stones and updating the system's sales record. She probably is. But as long as she keeps paying, she can plot all she wants. We're not exactly in a position to turn away customers. True, Lu Xiaoyu agreed, her mischievous grin returning. Though I still say she came back because of the noodles. Lin Mo couldn't suppress a smirk. You might not be wrong. The street where the Divine Convenience Store was located was eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves in the morning breeze and the footsteps of those who got a little curious about the mysterious establishment, or so that's the case. Hidden among the rooftops and alleyways, figures moved with practiced stealth that a young man clad in dark robes crouched on a nearby rooftop, his sharp eyes fixed on the store's glowing facade. His aura was restrained, and his breathing silent as he observed the comings and goings of the strange establishment. Are you certain this is the place? A voice whispered behind him. Another figure, shrouded in a gray cloak, stepped out of the shadows. Without a doubt. The rumors are spreading faster than wildfire. Have you seen that lady that just passed by? That's Yu Qingyan of the Verdant Sky Pavilion. Word is it's a store that sells divine-grade items and strange artifacts from another realm. It's already drawing attention from sects and rogue cultivators alike. However, they also said it is protected by a divine being. The young man on the rooftop frowned, his gaze narrowing to a slit. Divine being? Impossible. Tell me about the shopkeeper. Does he pose a threat? The cloaked figure chuckled softly. Hardly. From what I've gathered, he's immortal. No cultivation to speak of. But there's something odd about him. His assistant, on the other hand, is only a spirit condensation realm junior. Although her movements suggest she's trained in some rare technique. Interesting. The young man's tone was thoughtful, though his eyes gleamed with a predatory light. If the rumors are true, this street wouldn't remain as desolate. We might see an upheaval happening in this city. No, in the entire region. The cloaked figure nodded. Exactly. That's why we must tread carefully. If we act too soon, we risk drawing the attention of the Verdant Sky Pavilion or other factions. But if we wait too long, the young man's lips curled into a cold smile. We won't wait. Send a scout to test the waters. Buy something and then return it to us. We can think about pressuring the shopkeeper another time. The cloaked figure hesitated. And what if the result turned out better? If that woman from Verdant Sky Pavilion isn't making an aggressive move to potential competition, the rumors about it being protected may be true. Can we afford to offend them? TSK, stop being a wuss. All right, I'll go scout myself. Stay here and watch from a distance. If I spoke of my affiliation and he trembled in fear, the prestige of this establishment is nothing. Why, young master, wait. The cloaked figure tried to stop him, but he had already jumped out of the roof and started walking towards the store. Inside the Divine Convenience Store, Lin Mo was blissfully unaware of the eyes watching from the shadows. He was busy tallying up the current day's sales, the system panel glowing softly beside him. Sales summary: 1 cleansing talisman, 3 spirit stones, pending debt, 1 detoxifying elixir, 10 spirit stones, partial payment, 12 heavenly dew sodas, 24 spirit stones, personal balance, 8 spirit stones. Well, it's not a fortune, but it's progress, Lin Mo muttered, leaning back in his chair. Lu Xiaoyu, who was running around, checking out every shelf, turned to him with a grin. Boss, we're doing great, right? At this rate, we'll hit the next tier in no time. Don't jinx it, Lin Mo replied, though a small smile tugged at his lips. The peaceful hum of the Divine Convenience Store was interrupted by the doorbell's chime. Lin Mo glanced up from the system panel, noting the arrival of a new customer. This one was different. He thought. The young man who stepped in exuded confidence. No, arrogance. His robes were pristine, embroidered with intricate golden patterns that practically screamed, "I'm important." His hair was tied in a high ponytail, and his sharp features carried an air of disdain, as if he were doing the store a favor by gracing it with his presence. He was reminded of that annoying trope. He's not a young master, is he? Before the young man could fully step inside Lu Xiaoyu, the enthusiastic greeter bounded over to the entrance. Welcome to the Divine Convenience Store. Do you need anything? We have a lot of things in this store. The young man barely acknowledged her, his gaze sweeping over the store with thinly veiled contempt. So, this is the place everyone's whispering about? Humph. It's underwhelming. Lin Mo raised an eyebrow, exchanging a glance with Lu Xiaoyu. Great. Another critic, he muttered under his breath before adopting his professional tone. Welcome. Let us know if you need anything. The young man strode to the counter, his hands clasped behind his back. You're the shopkeeper? Lin Mo nodded. That's right. And you are? The young man smirked, clearly waiting for this moment. I am Yin Wei, young master of the Azure Gale sect. Surely you've heard of us. Lin Mo stared blankly. Nope. Lu Xiaoyu snorted loudly, quickly turning it into a cough when Yin Wei shot her a glare. You dare claim ignorance of the Azure Gale sect? Yin Wei's voice rose slightly, his aura flaring just enough to rattle a few snack packets on the shelves. Lin Mo held up a hand, unimpressed. Calm down, young master. This is a convenience store, not a sect directory. What do you need? Yin Wei's smirk returned, though it was tinged with irritation. I've come to see if the rumors about this place are true. Divine-grade items, otherworldly goods. Let's see if you can impress me. How demanding. Yep, really a young master. I better curry favor with him to avoid trouble. I don't have the magic divine reprimand anymore to expel unwanted customers. Lin Mo sighed inwardly. Lu Xiaoyu perked up. Oh, we've got plenty to impress you. How about our heavenly dew soda? It's refreshing, revitalizing, and only 2 spirit stones per bottle. Yin Wei glanced at the drink display, his expression skeptical. A beverage? Is that all? We also have talismans, elixirs, and protective gear. What exactly are you looking for? Yin Wei tapped his chin theatrically, as if pondering the mysteries of the universe which didn't really suit him. Something extraordinary. Something that befits someone of my status. Lu Xiaoyu's eyes sparkled with mischief. Oh, I've got just the thing. She darted to a shelf and returned with a bright pink umbrella. Lin Mo facepalmed as she watched the bunny-like store assistant return with what he was expecting. This, Lu Xiaoyu declared, holding the umbrella aloft, is our protection against celestial tribulations. Limited modern edition. Stylish and functional. Yin Wei stared at the umbrella, his expression a mix of disbelief and offense. You're joking. No, Lu Xiaoyu said cheerfully. It's divine grade. Perfect for someone as radiant as you. You can tide through major tribulations past the nascent soul realm. Lin Mo coughed to cover a laugh, earning a sharp look from Yin Wei. Huh, do you think I'm in need of an umbrella? Enough of this nonsense. Yin Wei snapped. Show me something worthy of the Azure Gale sect. Lin Mo rolled his eyes and pulled up the system panel, scrolling through the inventory. After a moment, he gestured to a shelf of shimmering talismans. These are heavenly shield talismans. They negate mortal and low-level cultivator attacks. 20 spirit stones each. Yin Wei's gaze flicked to the talismans, and for a moment, genuine interest sparked in his eyes. But his pride wouldn't let him admit it. Decent, I suppose. I'll take one. Great choice. Lu Xiaoyu chirped, grabbing a talisman and bringing it to the counter. As Lin Mo rang it up, Yin Wei placed a pouch of spirit stones on the counter with a flourish. There, consider this a contribution to your quaint establishment. Lin Mo counted the stones, suppressing the urge to comment on the young master's attitude. Thank you for your purchase. Enjoy your talisman. Yin Wei pocketed the talisman, his smirk returning. Perhaps this store isn't entirely worthless. I may return, if only to see how long you last in this city. With that, he turned and strode out, the doorbell chiming behind him. Lu Xiaoyu watched him go, then turned to Lin Mo with a grin. Boss, I think we've just met our most dramatic customer yet. Lin Mo snorted. If he comes back, you're dealing with him. Inwardly, Lin Mo was relieved. Is that really a usual young master? I was waiting for him to say you dare? Or find Xiaoyu a target to steal. Is she not attractive enough? He clicked his tongue, sensing the malicious, unspoken comment. The young woman sharply turned her head to him. Boss, are you talking down on me in your head? Of course not. Keep up the good work, my dear lovely assistant. He whistled before busying himself back on the counter, awaiting for another, hopefully not so troublesome customer. Somehow, he couldn't help but wonder when those customers from the first day would return. If Yu Qingyin did return just because she liked the taste of the instant noodles. Those who bought practical items should be too. The White Ember sect was nestled in a mountain range northeast of the Abyssal Forest and the city where the Divine Convenience Store appeared. It's like an impregnable fortress if seen from the foot of the mountain, and on its gate carved the sect's philosophy. Strength through refinement. Xue Biyu approached the sect's gates. His movements appeared to have been burdened by contemplation. Although his outward expression remained composed, his mind was still churning from the events of the previous day, and no matter how much he tried to do so, he couldn't take the mystical store out of his mind, and in fact, he returned to check it out one more time. Unfortunately, he wasn't informed that the establishment had a closing time. Not wanting to spend the night waiting outside it, he decided to just return to his sect. Besides, he was aware of the whims of divine beings. They mostly show up once in a certain area and never be heard from again, that if he didn't go back, there was a chance for him to waste his time waiting only to find out that the store would never open again. The talisman he had purchased, the Heavenly Shield, was tucked safely inside his robes. He had nothing to use it for, and there wasn't any opportunity to do so. Furthermore, he believed that its value was far too great to squander without necessity. That's why he's going to hand it over to someone who would be able to examine it in all its intricacies. A mid-foundation establishment stage expert. It was barely useful for him, as it was clearly meant for those below his current realm, namely, the spirit gathering and the spirit condensation stage. The shopkeeper was no cultivator, that much was certain. Yet the aura of that place and the presence of the divine energy was undeniable. It was openly demonstrated by Jinren Taihao. Shui Biyu suppressed a shiver. The casual erasure of those thugs was still fresh in his mind. Elder Shui, welcome back. The disciple manning the gate enthusiastically greeted him before hurriedly opening it for him. He nodded expressionlessly and continued inside. The serene energy of the sect greeted him. Its coolness brushed against his skin like a protective shroud that he glanced up at the ornate carvings etched into the stone walls, the stories of their sect's illustrious history depicted in vivid detail. Yet today, those tales felt strangely insignificant. As he ascended the stone steps toward the inner halls of the sect, another disciple hurried toward him, bowing deeply. Elder Shui, Sect Master requests your presence in the main hall. Right after that, the disciples scurried off, leaving Shui Biyu to ponder. Did the word of the appearance of that store already reach the Sect Master? He adjusted his robes and strode toward the hall, leaving that question hanging in his head. He ran into a few more disciples and other elders before he managed to reach the main hall, which was seated at the highest peak. The White Ember Sect's main hall was quite spacious. Its high ceilings were adorned with white patterns resembling roaring flames. Seated at the head of the hall was Sect Master Lin Mo, his sharp features exuding authority. His robes, embroidered with golden and white flames, reflected his mastery over fire-based techniques. Shui Biyu entered with a bow, his steps measured. Sect Master. Lin Mo motioned for him to rise. Biyu, welcome back. I trust your journey to the abyssal forest yielded insights. Shui Biyu hesitated for the briefest of moments. It was eventful, but not in a way you would have expected, Sect Master. Eventful. The Sect Master's gaze sharpened, his interest piqued. Elaborate. I came across something mystical. He reached into his robes and produced the talisman, holding it out with both hands. The sect leader's eyes narrowed as he examined it from his seat atop a dais. This talisman, a divine grade? The sect leader's eyes widened as his fingers brushed the glowing inscriptions. Where did you acquire it? From a unique establishment that has appeared in the nearby city. The Divine Convenience Store. It is unlike anything I have encountered before. He recounted his experience in the store, from the curious arrangement of items to the overwhelming presence of Jinren Taihao. The sect leader listened in silence, his expression unreadable. When Shui Biyu finished, he leaned back in his chair, his gaze fixed on the talisman. A store that sells divine-grade items. The sect leader said slowly. And protected by a being of Taihao's caliber. It could be an opportunity, sect leader, Shui Biyu said. If we can establish a connection with the shopkeeper, the White Ember sect could secure a significant advantage. Or it could bring calamity. The sect leader replied, his tone sharp. Such power rarely exists without cost. The factions that learn of this place will not hesitate to seize it by force. I should also take a look. If it is as you say, we have to be the first ones to take the benefits of aligning ourselves to the divine establishment. As you know, the abyssal forest has become more restless lately. We have to prepare for any eventuality. Shui Biyu inclined his head respectfully. I understand, Sect Master. Shall I arrange an escort for your journey to the store, or should I accompany you instead? The store may or may not remain in that place. Lin Mo waved a dismissive hand. No need. A low profile is essential. We cannot afford to reveal our interest prematurely. I will go in disguise alone. This divine convenience store may be a blessing, but it could also be a honey trap. If the being behind it is truly divine, we must tread carefully. If it disappeared by now, there's a chance that it may appear somewhere else. A divine-grade item like this cannot be faked. Shui Biyu hesitated for a moment before continuing. Sect Master, I must caution that while the shopkeeper appeared mortal, his demeanor was unique. There's a certain air around him like he's not from our realm. Lin Mo's lips quirked in a faint smile. Interesting. Maybe it is the divine being's power at work. If he is indeed merely a mortal, he may have been given a celestial providence. We might see a rise of another expert. I will see this place for myself. Despite the few quirky customers during the morning, the divine convenience store gradually became alive with a steady hum of activity. Customers trickled in, drawn by the rumors spreading like wildfire through the city. Or so Lin Mo heard from a customer. A housewife who bought a packet of another type of instant noodles because she was too lazy to cook for their lunch. He was surprised she produced spirit stones despite not being a cultivator. However, when he thought about the boy from earlier who even had a cracked spirit stone, he realized that spirit stones weren't as rare as he thought they would be. Yatio clear his doubts. He called Xiaoyu to confirm. Boss, I thought you're aware. The spirit stones our customers are paying are of different qualities. That woman who just bought an instant noodle paid you a low-grade spirit stone. Yu Qingyan paid you a high-grade spirit stone for her noodles. Could you not tell the difference? I thought you were purposely being vague to rip off our rich patrons. Lin Mo blinked, staring at Lu Xiaoyu as if she had just sprouted another head. Wait, there are different grades of spirit stones. Lu Xiaoyu face-bombed, groaning theatrically. Boss, I'm in awe of you. I should have expected you to be this ignorant. Yes, there are. Low grade, mid grade, high grade, and even supreme grade. Didn't the system tell you this? Lin Mo's eye twitched as he muttered under his breath. Of course, the system conveniently left that out. The system chimed in almost mockingly frowny face system reminder. Spirit stone grades influence exchange value. Host is advised to refine pricing strategies accordingly. Lin Mo sighed, rubbing his temples. Great. So I've been pricing everything the same, regardless of stone quality. Perfect. Just perfect. Lu Xiaoyu grinned, clearly enjoying his misery. Don't worry, boss. You've probably been overcharging the rich and undercharging the poor. It all balances out. That's not comforting, Lin Mo deadpanned. As the afternoon wore on, Lin Mo's celestial providence began to manifest in subtle yet impactful ways. Furthermore, it started to get picked up and conveyed to him by the system that a merchant entered the store, his face lined with worry. He explained he was looking for something to protect his caravan from bandits on the road. Lin Mo recommended a box of basic protective talismans in the form of stickers. The merchant hesitated, muttering about the cost and the aesthetic of the supposed, but eventually handed over the spirit stones. For the record, he still left on the quality of the spirit stones, and the merchant gave him 50 pieces of mid-grade quality for a box of 10 sticker talismans. As he left, the system chimed. Celestial Providence activated. Customer has been blessed by your luck. The bandit group waiting for his caravan's passing has been hit by lightning. Customer satisfaction enhanced. +1 spirit stone credited to personal balance. Lin Mo blinked at the notification. Wait, what the hell is this? Does this mean I'm indirectly saving lives now? First, it was Zhou Rue, and that boy now, Boss, you're like a hero in disguise. Lu Xiaoyu teased, holding up a bag of chips like a trophy. A hero who sells overpriced snacks and talismans. Lin Mo rolled his eyes but couldn't suppress a small smile. Later, a young cultivator stumbled in, clutching his side. He explained he had been feeling constipated the whole day. He was even embarrassed to say it out loud in fear of Xiaoyu hearing it. Lin Mo quickly sold him a packet of laxatives with the additional effect of freeing his energy channels, which he swallowed on the spot. Moments later, the cultivator's stomach started growling, and he quickly ran away to find a bathroom. Celestial Providence activated. Customer's opponent who secretly caused his constipation accidentally took the same solution and was now hurting. As they will be having a duel later, the customer's win probability has been enhanced. Customer satisfaction enhanced. +1 spirit stone credited to personal balance. That works too. Boss, your luck is rubbing off on everyone. Lu Xiaoyu exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. Great, Lin Mo muttered. I'm a walking rabbit's foot. Maybe I should start charging extra for the providence tax. As the afternoon wore on, Lin Mo's celestial providence. Heaven's favor continued to create ripples of good fortune around him, even if it was as significant as the first few that a clumsy scholar accidentally knocked over a jar of pills, but miraculously caught at mid-fall without spilling a single one. A weary traveler, who had been searching for his lost pouch of spirit stones, found it lying untouched near the store's entrance. Even Lu Xiaoyu, while testing her heaven's reflex by juggling snack packets, managed to catch every single one without breaking a sweat. Boss, she said, grinning as she balanced a bag of chips on her head. I think your celestial providence is rubbing off on everyone. Maybe you should charge extra for just standing near you. Lin Mo smirked. If only it worked that way. Now put those chips back before you eat our profits. By the way, Xiaoyu, can you look for a cultivation manual on our shelves? There should be one there, right? Let me try my hand at it. I should be the one benefiting from my providence. Oh, on it. Lu Xiaoyu saluted before disappearing into the aisles. Lu Xiaoyu darted off to scour the shelves. Lin Mo leaned against the counter, massaging his temples. The notifications from the system had been relentless all day, each one reminding him of the strange, domino-like effects of his celestial providence. Who knew selling laxatives could change the course of a duel? He muttered, shaking his head. The doorbell chimed again, and Lin Mo instinctively straightened. Putting on his best, welcome face, a middle-aged woman entered, clearly someone from the neighborhood. Her expression was a mix of curiosity and hesitation. She wore simple but neat robes and carried a small basket filled with herbs. "Welcome to the Divine Convenience Store," Lin Mo greeted. "How can we help you today?" The woman approached cautiously, her eyes darting to the glowing shelves and the array of items that seemed both mundane and mystical. I heard about this place from my neighbor," she with a trembling voice. "She said you sell unique things?" Lin Mo nodded. "That's right. What are you looking for?" The woman hesitated before speaking. "My husband. He's been bedridden for weeks." The healers who looked at him said it was a spiritual imbalance after encountering a spirit-type creature. "But we can't afford their treatments. Do you have anything that could help?" Lin Mo pulled up the system panel, typing in the query. A few options quickly appeared, as usual. Available remedies for spiritual imbalance. Harmony pills. Basic grade balances minor spiritual disruptions. Price: 5 spirit stone spirit alignment elixir. Standard grade restores balance for moderate cases. Price: 12 spirit stone soul rejuvenation crystal. Cures severe spiritual imbalances and restores vitality. Price: 50 spirit stones. Lin Mo glanced at the woman's modest appearance and the basket of herbs. He doubted she had more than a few spirit stones to her name. Before he could speak, Lu Xiaoyu reappeared, carrying a thick book labeled Beginner's Guide to Cultivation for the totally clueless. "Found it, boss," the young woman chirped, plopping the book onto the counter. Lin Mo gave her a quick nod before turning back to the woman. "We have a few options, but for your husband's condition, I'd recommend the Harmony pills. They're effective for minor spiritual disruptions and cost 5 spirit stones." The woman's face first had a spark of hope in her eyes, but upon hearing the first, it fell once again as she clutched her basket tightly. I only have 3 spirit stones. Is there any way I could?" Lin Mo sighed inwardly, already anticipating the system's chime. Suggested action: offer a barter or alternate transaction to build goodwill. "Of course. Do you have anything else to trade?" Lin Mo asked, gesturing to her basket. The woman hesitated before pulling out a small bundle of herbs. "These are spirit-soothing leaves. They're not worth much, but they're fresh. I've used this to give him temporary relief, but its potency is dwindling the more I use this to him." Lu Xiaoyu leaned in, inspecting the herbs with a critical eye. Once again, she's proving a bit of her usefulness. Boss, these are actually pretty rare. They're used in a lot of mid-grade elixirs, of course not of the same quality as the ones we have in store. You can sell it to Yu Qingyan, or maybe the store can deal with that. What do you think?" Lin Mo raised an eyebrow. "Really? Definitely worth at least 2 spirit stones." Lin Mo turned back to the woman. "All right, I'll take the herbs as partial payment. 3 spirit stones, and these leaves, and the harmony pills are yours." Hearing his acceptance, the woman's eyes filled with gratitude as she handed over the herbs and spirit stones. Lin Mo retrieved a small jar of harmony pills from the shelf and placed it in her hands. The content looked like round strawberry bubblegums, but he knew that its appearance and taste didn't matter as long as it helped the customer's husband. "Thank you." The woman bowed, her voice trembling with both relief and happiness. "Thank you so much. I'll tell everyone I know about your kindness." As she left, the system chimed again. Customer satisfaction enhanced. +1 spirit stone credited to personal balance. Celestial providence activated. Customer's husband will recover fully within a week. Word of your store will spread to nearby villages. Lin Mo sighed, leaning back against the counter. "I'm starting to feel like a charitable organization. Is this what Taihao expects the store to be?" Lu Xiaoyu grinned. "Hey boss, it's still a profitable one. Look, your balance is going up." As the sun dipped below the horizon, the store began to quiet down. The steady stream of customers had slowed to a trickle. Finally, Lin Mo had a chance to sit down and flip through the cultivation manual Lu Xiaoyu had found for him. For the totally clueless, huh? He wryly smiled as he inspected the thick manual, thinking it might be an illustration book for children. Real subtle. Lu Xiaoyu snickered from her perch on a stool. It's perfect for you, boss. Baby steps. Lin Mo ignored her, focusing on the first chapter. The manual was surprisingly straightforward, explaining the basics of spiritual energy, meridians, and the importance of meditation. Lin Mo flipped through the pages, his brows furrowed in concentration. He never expected to be able to become the fabled cultivator that became popularized in his world through fiction, but here he was now. He had fully accepted this as his new reality. The cultivation manual's instructions were clear, but clearly not for the illiterate. Most likely, it would have been better for newbies in cultivation to get a mentor than rely on the book. Words like dantian and spiritual resonance danced on the page, sounding more like mystical jargon than practical steps. Focus your mind. Visualize the flow of spiritual energy and guide it into your dantian, he muttered as he read aloud. Sounds easy enough. He closed the book, took a deep breath, and crossed his legs on the stool. He closed his eyes as he attempted to follow the instructions. Lu Xiaoyu, showing that she's a supportive assistant, leaned over the counter as she watched him with barely concealed amusement. Boss, are you sure you should be trying this in the middle of the store? What if you explode or something? Alerted by her wording, Lin Mo cracked an eye open. Explode? Is that a thing? Probably not, she said with a shrug, though her grin suggested she wasn't entirely certain. Great. Thanks for the vote of confidence, my very helpful and lovely assistant, he scoffed before shutting his eye again. Trying to connect with the flow of spiritual energy in his surroundings, Lin Mo tried and failed to feel the flow of spiritual energy. The subtle effects of his celestial providence continued to ripple through the store's customers, and Lu Xiaoyu, a clumsy traveler, who had been browsing the shelves for over an hour, finally made a purchase. A jar of essence replenishing pills. As he reached the counter, the system chimed frowny face customer satisfaction enhanced, plus 1 spirit stone credited to personal balance. Celestial providence activated. Customer's purchase will lead to a successful breakthrough in cultivation tonight. The traveler left with a grateful smile, oblivious to the invisible hand of fate guiding his fortune. Meanwhile, outside the store, a street performer who had been struggling to attract an audience suddenly found himself surrounded by a crowd. A few spectators even tossed low-grade spirit stones into his hat. He was also a customer. He bought a gum before he did his setup there. Lu Xiaoyu noticed the commotion and nudged Lin Mo, who was still pretending to meditate. Boss, looks like your luck is spreading to all our customers. Should we start charging for it and call it value-added luck? Lin Mo opened his eyes and exasperatedly looked at her. Do you ever stop talking? No, she chirped, tossing him a packet of chips. Here, snack on this while you cultivate your non-existent spiritual energy. Did you pay for this? Lin Mo raised an eyebrow as he caught the packet. I did. I got my wage for yesterday and a few bonuses here and there. Look. After saying that, Lu Xiaoyu grinned as she opened up a system panel in front of her. One more simplistic than his. There's only personal balance there, and currently, she's at 8 spirit stones, originally 10 considering she bought those packets of chips that cost 1 spirit stone each. Ridiculous. But thanks, Xiaoyu. I probably need to take a break. The first steps in cultivating are too difficult. Why is my celestial providence not helping me? Boss, you shouldn't grow impatient. Guiding the first drop of spiritual energy to your dantian is one of the hardest parts when it comes to cultivation. Lu Xiaoyu said. Lin Mo nodded and stood up. You're right. I should be patient with it. Anyway, get us heavenly dew sodas, my treat. Wow, are you serious, boss? I love you. Lu Xiaoyu gleefully giggled as she instantly dashed to get the drinks from the walk-in coolers. Even without prompting the system, it automatically deducted 4 spirit stones from his personal balance and added those 4 to the current day's sales. For the next few minutes without a customer, he consulted his assistant about cultivation, learning more terms that he barely understood from the manual and her experiences. A few minutes of consultation later, Lin Mo took a sip of the soda that had already sweated all its coldness. Nevertheless, the sweet, fizzy liquid became a refreshing contrast to the lingering taste of his current frustration. Thanks, Xiaoyu. You're really helpful, aren't you? he teasingly said to his assistant sitting in front of him. She rubbed her nose and smugly declared, "Of course I am, boss. Ask away." They drank in comfortable silence for a moment, the gentle hum of the stores settling around them. The street outside was growing quiet as dusk approached, the city sounds fading into a low murmur. He thought he saw a shadow lurking somewhere in the streets, a pair of red eyes before it quickly disappeared. "So, let's continue, boss. I'll drill into you the basics of cultivation," Lu Xiaoyu said after a while, breaking the silence. "Or at least, what I know about it." He, Lin Mo sighed, running a hand through his hair. Yes, yes. Oh, great Xiaoyu. It's harder than it looks. I thought if I just followed the steps in that book, the spiritual energy would just magically start flowing, but nope. I still feel as clueless as before. Maybe I am actually lacking in comprehension. Well, it might be. But boss, like I told you, you can't expect it to be that easy. Cultivation takes time, patience, and a lot of practice. It's not something you can master overnight, especially if you're not like me. Someone born with a strong spiritual affinity. Lu Xiaoyu said, her lips twitching upwards as she tried to look as humble as possible. Lin Mo rolled his eyes at his quirky assistant. Right, because you're the cultivation prodigy, and I'm the clueless shopkeeper. Hey, she said, playfully nudging him in the arm. Boss, you already got me convinced yesterday. Even if you look like a dullard and out of place when I first saw you, you're now a dignified shopkeeper. See how you tricked those rich cultivators into paying with high-grade spirit stones. Don't sell yourself short. You've got that divine luck thing going on. That should help you catch up to us faster. Ugh. Now, I'm being comforted by you. But thanks, Xiaoyu. Maybe I should start treating you better. Hey, don't say maybe. Do it right away. I'm your one and only assistant. Sure, sure. Anyway, Lin Mo waved his hand playfully, his gaze shifting back to the cultivation manual. What's with my celestial providence? I can feel it flowing through my customers. A traveler getting a breakthrough, a street performer attracting an audience, bandits struck by lightning. And yet, all I feel is nothing. Am I doing something wrong? Didn't Tai Hao say it would be helpful in my cultivation? Lu Xiaoyu hopped off her stool and peered over his shoulder, her face thoughtful. Maybe you're trying too hard, boss. Or you need a teacher, a mentor to guide you through the steps. Oh, maybe you can get that cultivator from yesterday. He's strong. You know, our first customer. The one who bought the talisman. Lin Mo raised an eyebrow. You mean the one who was about to be overpowered by a bunch of thugs that Tai Hao turned into ash? You're correct in saying he's strong, but I doubt he'll be coming back to our store. As of now, only Yu Qingyan is a repeat customer. Lu Xiaoyu shrugged. You never know, boss. But anyway, the fact that you can feel the spiritual energy is already a huge step. For now, why don't we look over what you learned? You look like you were about to explode after that meditation you did earlier. You also looked constipated, like that other customer. Lin Mo chuckled, setting aside the cultivation manual and turning his attention to Lu Xiaoyu. All right, let's hear it then. A wise cultivation expert. Maybe you're the mentor I need. Don't you think so? Boss, not to brag, but learning from a prodigy is oftentimes more difficult because our thinking speed and quality are different. Although there's a certain pride in her voice, Lin Mo genuinely understood what she was trying to convey. Lu Xiaoyu might be seen as his goofy assistant, but her talent in cultivation wasn't made up. He could sense her improving even while working diligently in the store. She may be lower in cultivation than those thugs yesterday, but it's only a matter of time before she catches up to them. At the moment. She's only at the 5th level spirit condensation stage, but it's the realm before foundation establishment that the customer from yesterday has reached. For the next few minutes without a customer, Lin Mo listened as Lu Xiaoyu resumed explaining the various terms from the book and her own experiences. He learned about the different stages of cultivation, from the basic spirit gathering and spirit condensation to the more advanced realms that sounded like the stuff of legends. He learned about meridians, dantian, and the importance of spiritual resonance. Most of the terms didn't feel like a foreign language to him since he had read about them before, but to apply it to his body right now boggles his mind. He appreciated the effort Lu Xiaoyu put into explaining it all. So, basically, Lin Mo said after a while, I need to become a human battery for all of this to work. Lu Xiaoyu giggled. Something like that. But a really powerful battery that can blast people with magic and fly. You'll get there eventually, boss. Oh yeah? If I don't die from overwork first, Lin Mo muttered. You won't, she said, puffing her chest out. I'll protect you. Lin Mo chuckled, shaking his head. Right. You and your heaven's reflex. I bet those thugs would have had a good laugh at that. Lu Xiaoyu pouted, her cheeks flushing slightly. Hey, I was conserving my energy. I can handle those thugs now. With my reflexes, it's like they're moving in slow motion. Sure, Lin Mo said, his lips twitching as he tried not to laugh. He stood up, stretching his arms above his head, the lingering weariness from the day settling into his bones. He knew he had a long way to go, but he was starting to find a strange sort of purpose in this chaotic new reality. As the day wound down, the store saw its last rush of customers. A scholar purchased a traveler's respite charm, a group of mortals bought snacks, and a pair of cultivators argued over who got the last heavenly dew soda in stock, only to Lu Xiaoyu to restock it in front of their eyes. Lin Mo kept his business as he rang up the purchases, his exhaustion restrained. Compared to him, Lu Xiaoyu remained energetic as she leaned against the counter with a grin. Boss, I think we're getting better at this. We didn't even have a robbery attempt today. Don't jinx it, Lin Mo said, glancing at the system panel. Daily tasks updated. Restock inventory. Completed enhance customer satisfaction. 5/5 completed prepare for tomorrow's opening. Pending. Sales summary. 289 spirit stones earned. Mixed grades. Look at that. Our sales are more than 4 times than yesterday, Lin Mo exclaimed, causing Lu Xiaoyu to jump like an excited rabbit. As he prepared to close the store for the day, the system chimed with a new notification. System notice. Day 2. Complete. Evaluation pending. Pending. Lin Mo frowned. Wait, it's not like this yesterday. Before Lu Xiaoyu could chime in with a snarky remark, a soft, melodic chime filled the air. The store's lights dimmed, and a golden glow suffused the room. Oh no, Lin Mo sucked his breath while Lu Xiaoyu ran to his back as though using him as a shield in case a blinding light covered the whole store. Is Taihao back? A figure materialized in the center of the store, but instead of the radiant old man, it was another divine being. A goddess. Her presence radiated both warmth and regality. She was clad in flowing robes of gold and white, her long hair shimmering like molten sunlight. Her eyes sparkled with a hint of amusement and at the same time, approval as she surveyed the store. Greetings, shopkeeper Lin, she said with a voice as soothing as a lullaby. I am Jinren Lihua, the divine being known for being the custodian of commerce and harmony in our divine pantheon. Lin Mo blinked, his exhaustion momentarily forgotten. Another one? Are divine beings just going to keep showing up unannounced? Lu Xiaoyu nudged him, whispering, Boss, be polite. She's also a divine being. Jinren Lihua's lips stretched into a thin smile. Her silent giggle was seemingly making the whole store shake. Relax, young man. I come bearing good tidings. Your performance on this second day has been more than commendable. The system panel flickered to life, displaying a new evaluation. Frowny face. Day 2 evaluation. Excellent. Sales summary. 39 transactions. Revenue. 289 spirit stones. Rewards. Plus 5 spirit stones to personal balance for both shopkeeper and assistant. Aura of Harmony. Temporary store buff. Aura of Harmony. Lin Mo asked, raising an eyebrow. It will ensure your customers remain peaceful within the store's confines. Even if they're rude, they will not resort to violence. Liwa explained. No more fights over soda bottles or petty squabbles. Lin Mo sighed in relief. Finally, something useful. As he thought that, another line of system messages emerged in front of him. Tier progression, Novice Store, 343/100. The Divine Convenience Store has progressed to the next tier, Emerging Store. Tier progression, Emerging Store, 243/10,000. Rewards for reaching the next tier, Loyalty Card, Customer Benefit, Store Expansion. Lin Mo's eyes widened as he processed the new system notifications. The numbers swam before his eyes, a jumble of spirit stones, tiers, and new features. I expected this. So, we're now an Emerging Store? And 10,000 spirit stones to reach the next tier? I guess that's about right. He glanced at Jinren Lihua. Jinren Lihua, what exactly does this tier progression mean for the store? Are we just getting bigger and shinier, or is there more to it? The goddess chuckled softly before waving her hand, calming Lin Mo's mind. The progression signifies your store's growing influence in this realm. Continue selling our goods to your customers and grow through their purchases. As you ascend the tiers, your store will attract more diverse customers, from mortals to higher-tier cultivators, and even beings beyond this realm. Who knows? Maybe someone from your previous world may also wander in someday, finding solace within our walls. With each tier, new features and opportunities will be unlocked to assist you in managing the challenges ahead. Lin Mo nodded as he tried to digest everything in her explanation. Contrary to his rather lukewarm response, Lu Xiaoyu was practically vibrating with excitement. Boss, this is amazing. We're going to be famous. And look, a loyalty card. What's that for? Jinren Lihua raised a graceful hand, and a golden card materialized in the air. It shimmered with divine inscriptions and a faint glow of power. The loyalty card is an exclusive token for your most valued customers, designed to foster long-term relationships and encourage repeat visits. To be eligible, customers must meet one of the following conditions. Make purchases from the store on 5 consecutive days or spend a total of 1,000 spirit stones or more. Cardholders will enjoy the following benefits. Generous discounts on regular purchases. Exclusive access to special items and promotions. Priority invitations to store events and sales. A personalized shopping experience with customized recommendations. A sense of belonging to your establishment's esteemed community. By offering a loyalty card, you'll create a strong bond with your patrons, incentivizing their continued support and transforming them into lifelong advocates for your store. Lin Mo took the card, examining it with a skeptical eye. I see. So this is how you're going to build your influence. Should we also spread your names to the customers? Jinren Lihua's melodic laughter filled the store, her voice carrying a soothing warmth. Oh, no need to worry about spreading our names, shopkeeper Lin. The current influence of the Divine Convenience Store is enough. Let the patrons speak of their experiences, and our names will naturally weave into their tales. The loyalty card is simply a tool to ensure harmony and prosperity for both you and your customers. Lin Mo raised an eyebrow, twirling the shimmering card between his fingers. So, I'm basically turning into a glorified marketer for the Divine Pantheon. Got it, Lu Xiaoyu. Meanwhile, had her eyes also glued on the loyalty card. She took it from him and inspected it a few times as if it was an otherworldly artifact. Boss, Yu Qingyan may become the first one to get this card. I'm certain she'll return tomorrow. Of course, she will. She's slowly getting hooked on our products. Extra work for me, Lin Mo said. His tone carried more amusement than frustration. This card is really useful. Back in my previous world, this is how they tie the high spenders to the store. Jinren Lihua inclined her head, her golden hair cascading like liquid sunlight. Precisely. With each step forward, your establishment grows closer to becoming a beacon of divine commerce in this realm. But remember, young shopkeeper, with great influence comes great responsibility. Lin Mo groaned. Why does every divine being who visits here sound like they're quoting a cheesy movie? Am I about to spew webs from my wrist? Li Hua's eyes twinkled with amusement. Perhaps your world and ours are not so different after all. Before Lin Mo could respond, the store itself began to hum with energy. The walls shimmered with a faint golden light, and the floor seemed to ripple like water. Shelves shifted, rearranging themselves as new sections sprouted up like bamboo after a spring rain. What the? Lin Mo stumbled back, watching as the store expanded before his eyes that a new aisle appeared, stocked with items he hadn't seen within the store before. Exquisite boxes and jars of teas, intricately designed tools, and even a small section dedicated to cultivation manuals along with a few tomes of unknown origins. The walk-in cooler now housed a wider variety of drinks, not just other flavors of the heavenly dew soda. On top of that, more chairs and tables appeared near the entrance. Lin Mo also noticed another door emerging next to the walk-in coolers as the boxes of items for day restocking disappeared from the corner where they were located. The store finally got its stockroom, but with the Divine System interface. Tracing the store's current inventory was already easy. Lu Xiaoyu clapped her hands, spinning in place at the mystical expansion of the store. Wow! Look at that, boss, more items. The items are also finally sorted out. There's the talisman section here and the pills section there. Oh, is that a weapon rack? Oh my goodness. There are more coolers and drinks. I want to try them all out. Lin Mo smirked at Xiaoyu. Isn't that great? More shells for you to restock. Just what you needed. Jinren Lihua observed their reactions with a serene smile. The divine convenience store is meant to grow and adapt, just like the realm itself. I trust you will utilize this expansion wisely, shopkeeper Lin. He nodded, then turned to Lu Xiaoyu, meeting her excited grin. They had come a long way in just 2 days, from a bewildered earthling and a reluctant assistant to a pair of partners managing a store that seemed to have a life of its own. So what do you say, Xiaoyu? Should we check out that new door? He asked, his lips curling into a faint smile. Let's go, boss. Maybe there's even a super secret snack stash for us in there, she said before dashing toward the new door, her boundless energy preventing Lin Mo from telling her that it was just a room full of boxes. The bright moonlight cast onto the jade-tiled roofs of the verdant sky pavilion, its light painting the meticulously designed quarters in hues of emerald and diamond, that Yu Qingyan moved through the winding pathways with a graceful stride, her flowing green robes embroidered with silver vines that seemed to shimmer in the fading light, but on her hand was the almost empty pack of heavenly dew soda that she bought earlier in that peculiar divine store. The serene atmosphere hummed with the soft echoes of training exercises from the training grounds, the rustling of bamboo leaves from trees planted around the pavilion, and the faint scent of rare herbs cultivated within the protected grounds that Ina Way. The current scene was like an oasis of peace, a bastion of strength within the chaotic currents of the 9 heavens, a place she had called home since she opened her eyes to the world. Yet, beneath the peaceful facade, tension continued to brew. The appearance of the divine convenience store had already sent ripples through the pavilion's usually calm waters after she first reported it. She still vividly remembered the reaction of her peers when she told the audacity of that shopkeeper for rejecting her offer, the strangeness of the products that he sold, and the even stranger aura that surrounded the place and the people within it. She could tell that after giving them a taste of the heavenly dew soda, some of her fellow members of the pavilion had begun desiring to visit the place in order to get their hands on the mystical wares and divine items, if they could even be considered divine. For themselves, Yu Qingyan entered her private chamber, a spacious room that reflected her high position within the pavilion. The walls were lined with meticulously organized shelves that held not just scrolls and tomes of ancient knowledge, but also ledgers detailing trade routes, troop deployments, and diplomatic correspondences. A large window overlooked the city surrounding the verdant sky pavilion, but her gaze was drawn to the detailed map of the region that was sprawled across her desk, marking key resource points, sect territories, and potential threats such as the abyssal forest. Her chamber was a microcosm of her responsibilities within the verdant sky pavilion, a blend of scholarly pursuits and strategic planning. Yet despite her busy life, she's once again rearing to go back to that store. Pouring herself a cup of chrysanthemum tea, its floral aroma provided a calming effect to her restless thoughts. Indeed, the verdant sky pavilion was more than just a sect. It was a powerful trading organization that had carved a unique niche in the realm of 9 heavens. They were renowned for their vast trading network, their keen understanding of resource allocation, and their ability to maintain a delicate balance in a realm constantly threatened by war and chaos. And with her grandmother, the pavilion master, getting older, the responsibility of leading this organization had started to slowly get transferred to her shoulders. Of the moment, Yu Qingyan was the appointed emissary, the face of the pavilion who represents their interests in dealings with other factions, mediating disputes, and forging alliances. Her position required her to be both a diplomat and a strategist, a scholar and a warrior. She was responsible for ensuring the continued prosperity of the pavilion, and that often meant dealing with threats both visible and hidden. She took a sip of her tea, her expression turning thoughtful. The divine convenience store was like a pebble tossed into a still pond. Its appearance had created ripples that were spreading through the city and, no doubt, to the ears of other factions. The other sects were always waiting for a chance to disrupt the balance of power. And something like this, a divine store that could offer unimaginable treasures, was like a magnet that would attract all sorts of troubles. Her fingers traced the lines of the map on her desk, her mind working through the possible implications. The Verdant Sky Pavilion had always been careful in maintaining a position of neutrality, avoiding direct conflicts, and focusing on trade and diplomacy. But the Divine Convenience Store was a game-changer. It was a force that she could either harness to their advantage or eliminate as a threat. A customer. That's all I am in his eyes. Yu Qingyan mused. She recalled her conversations with the shopkeeper, Lin Mo. His awkward charm and his strange insistence on neutrality still bothered her, as if he was not afraid of the people coveting the store. His eyes seemed to hold so much innocence and ignorance. And yet, his actions were anything but that. He was a puzzle she couldn't quite figure out, a wild card in the game she was used to controlling. I wonder what kind of ware is waiting for me tomorrow. She set her cup down, a resolute glint in her eyes as a small smile played on her lips. That Yu Qingyan's musings were interrupted by a soft knock at her chamber door. Enter, she called, commanding the figure outside. The door creaked open, revealing a young disciple clad in the Verdant Sky Pavilion's signature green robes. His face was flushed, and his hands clutched a scroll tightly. Elder Yu, the disciple said, bowing deeply. This just arrived. It's marked urgent. Yu Qingyan extended her hand, and the disciple stepped forward to place the scroll in her grasp. Without a word, she unfurled it. Her eyes scanned the neat, hurriedly written script, and it immediately made her brow furrow slightly as she read. To Elder Yu Qingyan, our informants sent reports that the factions they belong to have received word about the Divine Convenience Store. These factions include the White Ember Sect, Crimson Veil Sect, and Azure Gale Sect. Reports suggest that the Fanling City Lord has started looking into the establishment. This development demands immediate attention. Sentinel Lu Yu Qingyan sighed, setting the scroll aside. Of course, if I found that store despite its obscure location, there was no way those vultures wouldn't. The store is too much of a temptation for them. The disciple hesitated, shifting on his feet. Elder Yu, if I may, should we take action to deter them? She shook her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. No, why should we? Under the shopkeeper's eyes, everyone is merely a customer. Let them test the waters. If they piss him off, it'll only bring good to us. The disciple bowed again. As you command, Elder Yu. Once he left, Yu Qingyan leaned back in her chair, her gaze drifting to the window, yet her thoughts were already wandering to that unassuming store. A potent force that had already begun to reshape the delicate balance of power within this region of the Nine Heavens. Shortly after, Yu Qingyan rose from her cushion, pulling the remaining Heavenly Dew soda to her table. Even after downing 3 bottles of it, she still cannot get enough of its sparkly sensation. And that strangely addictive instant noodles. She can't wait to taste it again. The taste of both still lingered on her tongue. It was as though they were perfectly made for her taste buds, yet somehow, she felt the urge to consume more, and maybe different flavors of it. That it was a welcome change from the usual bland fare she was accustomed to. She had to be honest with herself. She craved it. How many spirit stones do I have left? She murmured as she opened her spatial purse. Upon peeking inside, her face sank. She had already spent the 25 high-grade spirit stones she set aside for this month's stipend. How can she buy more? This is a serious issue. The first rays of dawn kissed the horizon, painting the sky in hues of lavender and gold. In the Divine Convenience Store, the aura of harmony, a reward from Junren Lihua, shimmered faintly around the whole store, giving a calming ambience. He adjusted his freshly laundered striped uniform, which felt slightly stiff against his skin. Lu Xiaoyu had insisted on wearing hers as soon as the system provided another variation of the one they wore yesterday, bouncing around the store like a hyperactive rabbit. Now, Lin Mo wasn't sure if the uniforms made them look more professional or just comically out of place in this mystical realm. That he glanced at the system panel floating in front of him, its soft glow illuminating the new set of tasks for the day. Frowny face daily tasks. Attract new customers. 0/10. Sell items with a total worth of 20 spirit stones and above to a single customer. 0/5. Repeat customers. 0/5. It finally changed from the easy tasks for the past 2 days. Lin Mo mused as he finished adjusting the position of the new weapons rack, deciding it was the perfect place to show off the peculiar new goods he suddenly had in stock. He still couldn't help but wonder if all of these items in the store were being produced in some kind of factory in their divine pantheon. Do they have a taste for the modern Earth's aesthetic that even in essence recovery pill looked like a ball of chewy candy? There's also the mystery of how Tai Hao and company were transporting the items into the store. But considering both Tai Hao and Li Hua could pop up out of nowhere, there must be some kind of portal connected to the store that it's not that bad, actually. He'd welcome more upgrades if they could appear in an instant instead of him laboriously rearranging the store all by himself. Last night, after Jinren Lihua disappeared, he and Lu Xiaoyu welcomed the upgrade of their quarters. Apart from the partition for the privacy of their bed, the kitchen and the items they could use for their meal had expanded. They're not just instant noodles anymore. There were rice balls, dumplings, and assorted vegetables to choose from. Lin Mo and his quirky assistant feasted on them last night, which made it impossible for him to continue his attempt at cultivation. Anyway, it's like the system knows how to keep raising the bar, Lin Mo muttered, running a hand through his hair. At least it's not asking me to wrestle a divine beast. Yet, behind him, Lu Xiaoyu suddenly appeared, holding a broom she'd been using to enthusiastically sweep the floor. She grinned, her uniform somehow looking less ridiculous on her thanks to her boundless energy. Boss, you're thinking too small. These tasks are nothing. We've already got a bunch of customers hooked on the soda and noodles. Today's going to be a breeze. You mean the same customers who nearly fought over the last bottle yesterday? What if they come back and start haggling? Lin Mo crossed his arms as his mind was already starting to think if he could try to make his own move without the system's prompts. Something like sending Xiaoyu outside to promote the store. But he had to create some kind of pamphlet for it. His personal balance was now a whooping 24 spirit stones from everything he earned yesterday and the reward from completing daily tasks. But that was still far from enough. Lu Xiaoyu waved a dismissive hand. They won't. Besides, with the aura of harmony, even the grumpiest cultivator will be too calm to pick a fight. It's like we've got a magical anti-drama shield. Lin Mo smirked, shaking his head. You're way too optimistic for someone who called herself my protector the other day and then hid behind the counter. Hey, when will you drop that, boss? The situation was different back then, Lu Xiaoyu retorted, puffing out her cheeks indignantly. Anyway, boss, let's focus on the real challenge, selling those fancy new weapons. Did you see the sword in the rack? It's glowing. That's got to be worth at least 50 spirit stones. Lin Mo turned to the new weapons rack he had just arranged near the entrance. The centerpiece was indeed an elegant sword with a faint, ethereal glow. According to the system, it was called the Celestial Wind Saber, capable of slicing through most low-tier magical defenses. Its price tag? A whopping 80 spirit stones. There's still no indication whether it's low, mid, or high-grade spirit stones, so anyone could buy that as long as they have 80 pieces of any grade of spirit stones. He did inquire about that bit to Jinren Lihua, but she didn't answer straight. It's like the quality of the spirit stones didn't really matter to the divine beings. They cared more about their influence that was slowly taking root within the realm. Yeah, let's hope someone with deep pockets walks in, Lin Mo said, rubbing his chin. But knowing our luck, we'll probably get someone who tries to trade a bag of wilted herbs again. Remember, Xiaoyu, we're running a business here, not a charity. It's fine to do it once or twice, but not every day. Understood, boss. We'll start turning down those who cannot afford our prices. Although he said that, Lin Mo knew that if the system prompted him to do a trade to the customer, he might just do it. But thinking about it, those 3 customers yesterday were all situational. Zhou Rui was about to succumb to the poison. If he wasn't treated, he'd die outside the store. The kid was naturally someone who wouldn't lie to buy a cure for his mother. And lastly, the woman whose husband suffered spiritual imbalance had something to trade for it. The system took those herbs and converted them to their spirit stone value, clearing the debt. Meanwhile, at the Verdant Sky Pavilion, Yu Qingyan paced back and forth inside her private chamber, her brows furrowed in deep thought. The early morning sunlight streamed through her window, but her attention was elsewhere. Her gaze occasionally drifted to the almost empty pack of heavenly dew soda sitting on her desk. The remaining bottles seemed to taunt her with its fizzy allure. She had tried to ration them, but the taste was so addictive that she'd gone through the remaining bottles in a single evening. How can something so simple be so irresistible? She muttered, her tone half frustrated, half admiring. The thought of returning to the divine convenience store was already circling in her mind, but she already used her allowance for the month. This was the first time in a while that she exceeded the budget she set for herself. Yu Qingyan sighed, slumping into her cushioned chair as she stared at the map sprawled across her desk. Her mind wasn't on trade routes or factional politics. It was stuck on the fizzy, sweet taste of the Heavenly Dew soda and the peculiar store where she'd acquired it. Her fingers drummed against the desk as she considered her options. She could request an advance on her stipend, but that would raise questions she wasn't ready to answer. She could borrow from a fellow elder, but that came with its own complications. Why does something so trivial feel like such a dilemma? She muttered as she rubbed her temples. I'm an emissary of the verdant sky pavilion, not some spirit stone-less disciple. Why does something so trivial feel like such a dilemma? She muttered as she rubbed her temples. I'm an emissary of the verdant sky pavilion, not some spirit stone-less disciple. For her, the soda wasn't just a drink anymore. It was a symbol of the store's peculiar charm and the possibilities it held. The noodles, the talismans, the strange shopkeeper. They kept gnawing at her curiosity. There's one word that could best describe her at the moment. Addicted. Please like, share, and subscribe to the videos of Dimensional Diary. It will be a great motivation for me to make more videos like this. If you have any recommendations, feel free to express them in the comment section.